YouTubers, this is Buddy coming at you. Another quick video on the 65-gallon mixed reef. Today we're going to talk about maintenance. I'm going to do maintenance on my aquarium, and you guys get to watch it and see how I go about maintaining my tank on a weekly basis. Now, everything that I do today is on a weekly basis, from the sump to the sand bed to the glass to doing a water change. Show you how I do it in the very simple way that I do it. Alright guys, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in there and we're gently going to stir up the sand bed. Alright, so that's first thing. So let's start off with, I like to use this tool. It's just a scraper, very cheap, simple scraper, something I've been using for years. So first thing is I like to get my hand in there and I just gently stir up the sand bed. Now, I talk about stirring up the sand bed all the time in my videos, and I mentioned it many times in the past. Now, when I talk about stirring up the sand bed, I don't go in here and go crazy. I just gently stir it up a little bit, just to remove any pockets of detritus that are inside the sand bed. Now, if this is something you've never done before in your tank, you want to definitely do this very slowly and start out with a small section of the aquarium, and then every week move along until you get to through the whole sand bed. And then it's something you can incorporate on a weekly basis if that's something you choose. Again, not something you have to do. Stirring your sand bed is not something you need to do as far as maintaining a clean aquarium. It's just something that I do. I find it very beneficial, but some people don't find it beneficial. So you have to really do your own research and find out what you feel works best for you. So that's really where that goes. So I find it very beneficial. So we're going to stir this up really quick, and then I'll get right back to you and show you the sand bed. Alright guys. Alright guys, so as you see, I stirred up the entire sand bed. Now, like I said, you don't need to go crazy and really get down in the nitty and gritty. I just like to stir it up and just kind of keep it from turning into a block. Over time it can turn into a block from organisms dying and decomposing in the sand bed and then fossilizing. Your sand bed can get really hard. So in my opinion, stirring it up really helps to keep it thriving and living very well. So that's something that I do on a weekly basis. Now, as you can see, I did it very gentle. I didn't go crazy. So when I say stir, I'm not in there going crazy stirring. So the next order of business is just simply cleaning the glass. Now, I've already cleaned my glass, but I'm going to just show you how I would do it. I like to just clean the glass first before I stir up all of this fine particles in the water so I don't jeopardize scratching the glass. So really quick, just show you how I do it. I just come across with a scraper, obviously, and I get all the little fine corners against the silicone here. I want to be careful not to damage the silicone, obviously. So be very careful not to damage your silicone. I'll come across the top, which I still, as you can see, I have a little bit across the top I didn't get yet. So I'm kicking up a little bit on the top there. So that's pretty much it as far as doing the glass. I'll go through the whole entire tank. I always like to just clean where the overflow weirs are here, just to ensure that there's nothing clogging them or blocking them. So I always like to give them a little scrub down while I'm doing it. Now the next step, I like to go on with my trusty, hold on, give me 1 second here. I like to go on with my trusty turkey baster. Now I find this to be very important, especially dusting off some of my corals, because corals have a way of taking in food and other things like that, but they don't have a way of getting rid of it for the most part, especially a lot of our softies. So I like to go in there with a turkey baster and aid them in removing any of that unwanted waste. Now our flow in our aquariums is designed to wash away, bring food in or bring things to the coral and also excrete it away from the coral. But I like to just ensure that I'm getting everything off of them. So I just give them a little dust, gentle dust. And I do this weekly, and I have quite a bit of flow in my aquarium, but as you can see, I still get little stuff coming off of them, little pockets. And I have very strong flow. Now again, don't blast them really hard, just a gentle dusting in spots, just to free up any detritus or anything that might have settled or got trapped in the rocks or anything like that. But having good flow and changing currents in the aquarium, having water movement change throughout the day will ensure that you don't really get a lot of buildup. But you still can get buildup. It still can get trapped no matter what. So I like to go in there and just give it a dusting I find it very beneficial to do this. So I go through the whole tank. Just in the spots. Now see, I know my tank, so I know the spots to hit where I get stuff trapped. So it's very easy for me to quickly come in here and just hit these areas. Yeah, that's my good area right there. You'll see that stuff coming out of there. Now I'm freeing up all this detritus and allowing for this to get sucked down through my overflow, get trapped in my filter sock, and then be removed by the protein skimmer. So I find this very useful. This is another area right back in here that I get stuff to build up. And I have a power head back behind these rocks, flushing the rocks out. But I still get a little bit of stuff building up. My green star polyps always get a little bit on them. And they're right underneath a very powerful power head. And they also have one right there. And I have a return nozzle blowing straight down. And they still get in. Stuff still builds up on them. So it's just very good to do this. So the next order of business, guys, is simply getting down to the sump area. So now that we got the tank cleaned, that's all clean. Now we'll go down to the sump area. Now the sump is going to take a little more doing as far as cleaning. This is where a lot of my maintenance occurs. So as you can see, I have my return section of my sump that I have detritus built up in. Now I don't do this area every week like I should, but I do get it probably once a month. I haven't done it in about 2 months purposely for this video, so I could just show you how I go about sucking it out. And we're going to do that in a few minutes when I get the bucket over here to do the water change. So the second order of business now is to unplug the protein skimmer, and we're going to clean out the skimmer cup. Alright guys, so give me a minute and I'll be right back. Alright guys, so this is what I do as far as cleaning the protein cup. I also grab my power head. Now normally I'll soak this power head in vinegar to really clean it and break up any hard coralline algae. But I recently did do this about a month ago, so there's not much coralline algae or anything built up on it right now. So I'm just going to quickly give it a scrub down, and I'm also going to clean the protein skimmer. So you get to quickly see me do that and how I go about it. Now it's a very simple process. I use a scrub brush. There's many ways you could do it. You could use your hand if you want. Makes no difference. But I find it disgusting. Don't really want to use my hand. So that's kind of what I'm getting. I'm getting this on a weekly basis coming out of my protein skimmer. Now, that's quite a bit of stuff in a week. Obviously, it doesn't fill all the way up, but I'm still getting a really good skim. It's not a real thick skim, and it's not a wet skim. It's kind of in between. I'm getting good chunks in there, but it's also a wet skim. So that's how I like to do it. I like to run my skimmer like that, to where it's not real just constant muck, but it's not real wet. I'm getting good chunks, and it's still kind of like a wet skim at the same time. So it's kind of mediocre right in the middle. So first thing we'll do is we'll clean the skimmer cup real fast. Real simple. Rinse it out. Take my scrub brush, get it wet. And get the inside clean like that, and then I just come across the top. Clean it up. Now that I got most of the nasties out of there, I will run my hand in there a little bit. Unfortunately, sometimes there's just no way around that. So I am doing this a lot quicker than normal, but again, I'm filming. Normally I'm not filming, so I can take my time. And I don't want to turn this into a 2-hour video, if you guys know what I mean. Anybody that makes YouTube videos knows how daunting it is to do something and film at the same time. So, trying to be as quick as possible, guys. Alright, so got the skimmer cup clean. And I made a huge mess in the process. Alright, so I'm going to pull this power head apart, and I'm going to clean the power head as well. So I'll quickly just take it apart, no big deal. I go through this and I scrub it down. And I'm going to put all this stuff back together, and I'll be right back, guys. Alright guys, so that's all clean. Now let's put this back together. Make sure it's a nice snug fit. Plug it back in. Alright, all set. So the only other two things that I have to do is clean the filter sock and the sponges in the baffle. Now I do the sponges every 2 weeks that are in the baffle. Now I'll clean those when I do my water change. I'll rinse them out in the bucket of water that I take out of the aquarium. Because the sponges do hold some bacteria, and I like to preserve it. Not something you need to do or need to worry about. We have plenty of bacteria in the aquarium. I just do it just to do it. No big deal. Not something that needs to be done or any beneficial, real benefits at all. Alright, so let's pop this back in place. Now we're all set there. So our tank maintenance is almost done. I do this on a weekly basis, and it takes me like 20 minutes to a half hour to do. I also quickly clean off the LEDs and the T5s, no big deal. Alright, so I'm gonna get my bucket out, prepare to do my water change, show you how I do that, and then we'll pretty much end the video. Alright guys, so I'll be back in a minute. Alright guys, so as you can see, I got my bucket on my chair. I do this real simple and easy. So I'm gonna unplug my return pump, let the water from the main display drain down into the sump. Now I make it very simple, very easy. So this is, for me, it's a very simple way. Granted, I still do have to lug a 5-gallon pail around. I don't have it automated. Wish I did. And for you guys that do have automated water changes, that's awesome, man. Maybe shoot me some ideas or an email so I can maybe come up with a fancy little idea to have it myself. Alright, so let's get this started. Let's move my new LED light out of the way. Very simple. And normally I bring the top with me, but I didn't bring the top with me. And I'll stick the top on this. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to sit here, I'll let this bucket drain out. I'm going to go get the top in a second, put the top on. And then when this is all done draining, all I do is I take this bucket, I set it on the floor, I take the hose, and I stick it in here, and I suck the water out from here into the bucket. And then I turn on the return pump, and boom, bada bing, we're all set to go again. So that's my simple way of doing a water change and my weekly maintenance. I make it very simple, very easy. I think the easier we can do things, the better. The only thing that I'll do is I'll just quickly suck out that stuff in the return pump area. There's a little bit of detritus that's settled in a spot there. I'll suck that out with the turkey baster. I'll just squeeze it out and then suck it up and squirt it in there before I turn the sump back on. And that's it, guys. So I'll come back to you once I'm all set, and I'll just show you a couple shots of the tank and just show you the new LED light that I purchased for growing the macroalgae and all that good stuff. Alright guys, so this is Buddy, and I'll be right back. Weekly maintenance. Alright guys. Alright YouTubers, I'm back. This is Buddy coming back at you. Another quick video on the maintenance. So right now, basically what we're doing is we're going to just drain the water out. We're going to take 5 gallons out. What we do is we put 5 gallons into the sump. And as you can see, the sump holds that 5 gallons just fine. And I didn't even have to turn the skimmer off because it didn't overflow. Came close, but it didn't. Normally I do unplug the skimmer. And this is the new LED light I got for the to grow the macroalgae in my Refugium. And the reason why I bought such a big LED light for my Refugium is because I'm hooking up the 20-gallon long for the Refugium, for a remote Refugium. So let's start the water change here. And that's it, guys. Ugh, a little salty. So I just hook it like that. Boom, bada bing. No big deal. And I'll give you a couple shots of the tank while we're just hanging out here. So that's a full shot of it. Let's move the chair out of the way so you can actually get a shot of the tank. Got to neaten up this area over here. As you can see, it's just a little messy. The sump underneath. I changed out the GFI and carbon earlier today before the video, just because I'm trying to make the video as short as possible, and we're already almost into 15 minutes. So I did little things like clean the reactor. That's something that I do once a month, and it was due. So that's not my weekly maintenance, so I wanted to keep it to my weekly maintenance, basically just weekly maintenance. And the sponges, that's something I do every 2 weeks, and they are coming up to be ready to do. I'll probably do those tomorrow. The filter sock looks pretty good, but I always clean it after I stir everything up the way I just did. I'll give it a few hours, maybe later on today. Already trimmed the macroalgae out. Took out a good chunk, probably about 2 handfuls. So we're good there, but the Refugium is thriving quite nicely. Alright guys, so the bucket's almost full, and then that'll pretty much include our weekly maintenance, guys. Very simple, and I appreciate, you know, everybody watching my videos, all the comments and feedback that I get, guys. I really enjoy this hobby, and because of you guys, I enjoy it that much more. I know I haven't put a video up in a while, guys, and it's just being busy, but I'm going to start being more, putting more videos out there, more, you know, being more frequent with my videos. So I'll give you a quick shot of the new Gonapora that I bought. Just a little frag. Yeah, picked that up in a little trade. No big deal. He had a nice one. Nice big colony that was thriving very well, and I wanted a frag of it. So I traded him some zoas and stuff to get that little Gonapora. And we cut it up and called it a day. Alright, so that's it. We're all done there. Hose comes out. Boom, bada bing, guys. So I keep my maintenance very simple. Nothing crazy. Alright, guys, so hold on 1 second. Let me put this away, and then I'll give a couple shots of the tank before I sign out. Alright, guys, so you'll see the tank is starting to fill up now. A lot of bubbles, unfortunately. That's the only downside of doing it the way I do it. We do get some bubbles. Some corals do get a little irritated and get mad for a few minutes, but it's simple, it's quick, it's easy. The LED and the T5 combination is doing great. I couldn't be happier. Now you see I have my top open just to allow good ventilation. But yeah, I mean, thriving very well. I couldn't be happier. Alright guys, so hold on 1 second. I gotta push that down. I pull one of my heaters up so it doesn't get caught in the water. Alright, let's see if the skimmer, yeah, so the skimmer went back down to normal. And everything is doing great, guys. So this is the new LED light that I grabbed just to for my Refugium. It's whites only, with a little bit of blue and reds in there. That's about it. Blue and reds. Or whites and reds. And it has like 2 blue LEDs. 2 little blue ones, just to add a little bit more. But mainly, I was just looking for whites and reds to grow macroalgae. So that's what I got. Paid $100 for it. Not a bad little light. That's going to go on the 20-gallon as a remote Refugium when I get to it. Alright guys, so that includes my maintenance video for my weekly maintenance. Here's a full shot of the system. Everything is a little unhappy with me right now because of the simple fact that I stirred everything up. And I'll give you one more shot of my little Gonapora. He's all mad right now as well. Duncans are doing good. Everything is very happy, except at the moment they're a little mad at me. But the tank's thriving. Zoa Garden's really kicking off. All the coloration are really coming back in all the zoas. I just couldn't be happier with the LED and T5 combination. Alright guys, this is Buddy signing out. Happy reefing. And thank you to all my subscribers. Keep the questions flowing. If you have any videos you want me to watch, check out, please leave me a link. I always love watching the videos. Alright guys, this is Buddy signing out. Happy reefing.